For those of you that are on Zoom, hi, good to see you. We have 3 people so far. I know there's like 8 people that said they're going to be here. Let's see what happens. Oh, there's 3 guys. And of course, musicians, you know, kind of running a little late. But that's one of the things that we need to address. And that's something that's very important because tonight's guest, Gerald Ishibashi, is a good friend of mine. He does promotions. And one of the things about being a promoter is that if you're not on time, you ain't got the dime. In other words, you lose. So it's very important to know these things, you know. You can't be quite as lackadaisical as we used to be, especially now in this day and age of everything being virtual. Because when you're virtual, sometimes if you get online too late, then the stream is not working right and you get shut out. There's so many other things that are happening now, so having a schedule is very critical, amongst other things. So even though we're a little late, I apologize for that. We're here now, and for those of you that are here, welcome. We do have coffee. We do have the tip jar, thank you very much. It does cost us to be here. And we have another guest speaker starting off the new year, as you know. Every year we try to start off with Joanne Ledesma. Joanne is always a very big favorite here because she's getting stuff done. She mentioned that she was able to submit several songs from SongNet to different placement opportunities. So that's kind of exciting to see. I'm looking forward to finding out more about what she's doing and how that's working out. Meanwhile, we're going to get started with Gerald. So Gerald, why don't you come on up here, man? Can you just tell us about where you started?
Well, good evening. Thanks for having me. I assume you're all songwriters, right? Little background on me, I'm in the entertainment business. And I started out as an entertainer, had a music store, and I decided to start promoting concerts with my band. And it went along very well. But I think what you folks want to hear is something that pertains to how to get your music out there, right? I have 3 daughters in the business. They all write songs, they're actors, singers, and television, movies, theater. And I always told them to live their vision. And if you do it for free, that's where you should be. And so they pursued that. And the big question was, how do we monetize it? How do we make a life out of it? And so this has been our quest this whole time as we move along. And apparently some of the ideas work well because they're getting results. And as far as songwriting, you know, I've done a lot of live entertainment, producing, promoting, performing, and to us, you know, songwriting is the real estate of the future, right? For what you do as far as creating your own content. I have a guitarist that works with us, and we have a group that we do a lot of Latin rock, and we always try to put one of his songs in to the set list. I think it's with ASCAP, because he goes home, gets on the computer, logs in the place we played, how many people capacity, and a while later he gets a check for it. And so we're thinking if we can monetize that, it's a numbers game. So what we're looking for is how do we get more people to respond to what we do. And so the way we do it is that we play music from renowned artists, and that's our lure. And we bring, when we do show, we get 1,000 people. Some clubs are doing 100, 200. But to have that frequency, and then once we have our marketing plan to get the audience there, then we'll bring in what we feel is a qualified song. One show we're doing at the theater downtown, I had written a song, and I was a little practicing, so my buddy goes, play it to him. So I had a lead sheet. At the gig, we had some great musicians. There's 11 of us, and he kept urging me to do it, and I was nervous. I said, you know, we haven't practiced this song. And we went a sound check, ran it down twice. First time we played it live was at the concert, and it went extremely well. And all my nerves went away after the song was played. But before the song was played, I was crossing my fingers, hoping that people would like it. And it leads me to a comment I heard once at the NAMM show at a symposium. Um, there's someone somewhere in the world that's going to like your song. Just put it out there. The stuff you wrote 10, 15, 20 years ago that you feel nervous about, put it out there anyway. Because with current media, social media, Facebook, Instagram, all the different platforms, there's someone somewhere that's going to like that song you wrote. And our job as creators is to find a way to package it and to get it to them. It's better now than it's ever been before as far as access. And so that's where our focus is when we're looking at creating content and monetizing, hopefully currently and in the future, is to build libraries. And that's essentially how we go, what drives our live performances. We have a lot of fun, a lot of music, great musicians, but we're always in our mind, we're thinking like, we're really not going to get paid to do cover tunes, to do someone else's music. We'll get paid for the live performance, but as far as the residual benefit, what everyone hopes is mailbox money, it's going to come from original tunes. And so we're always looking at how can we develop an audience that resonates with us. And so the marketing component becomes very, very efficient and important for us, because if you're playing a song, there's a room full of 1,000 people and it doesn't resonate, chances are you're not going to get great results with it. But it's up to us to figure that out and to throw it out there. And I think for a lot of us as creative communicators, we hesitate. Whether it's good enough, it's the right audience, are they going to like it? Is the band going to be able to deliver it? And the litmus test is when you get a live room full of human beings that came there to hear you, and they really embrace your creativity. And so that's what we're constantly working on. And I guess most creatives are doing the same thing, but we found a way to do it by marketing concerts. And that's our way in to get recognition for our writers.
That's on a large scale, but what about like people that are just starting out? Open mics, for example.
I think you gotta do it all. I think you never know who somebody knows. We've done performances where we've taken an 11-piece group and there's only like 20 people in the house, but one person liked what we did. That was the one person that counted. We can play 1,000-seater and we have a great time, but nothing resonates with taking it further. As far as open mics, you're doing the right thing, because now you have access to the entire world. We worked with a lot of groups that were popular during what we call the heyday of rock and roll, the 60s, the 70s, a lot of those groups that wrote their own music that you're familiar with. But they don't have what you have. They had to go to a record company, through a manager, agent, lawyer, pay the fees, get some kind of advance, go through all the process. They didn't even have electronic guitar tuners in those days. And then cross your fingers and hope you have a hit. And we've worked with a lot of those artists, and they're amazed the access that all of us have now to the marketplace. You don't have to go through, everyone understands you don't have to go through the same channels. You can self-release a tune out of your bedroom with an iPhone. And I think that's where a creative communicator, songwriters, artists, writers, painters, that's where they have to focus now, because it takes a lot of nerve to put together a concert, put up the money, rent the hall, do the marketing, sell it. It's a lot more convenient to master electronic media, social media. It's more cost effective. And you can sit there in the privacy of your own home and get it out there. But I would say jump. You never know who somebody knows.
Yeah. You were mentioning too, like you use some of the legacy bands for your events. Talk a little bit about how you got started with that taste of thing, which
when I went to college, it was, should I get a business degree or a music degree? And I didn't fancy myself even becoming a music teacher. So I said, well, I have an inclination towards business, so I got a marketing concentration. Eventually, it got to where I would approach corporate America, and they had a problem. They need to bring a lot of people to their properties on a repetitive basis, and we did it with music, with concerts. And so what I did was say, who do you want to attract? At the time, say it was a baby boomer audience, not too different than what I see here today. And so we really focused in on what that individual or group of people wanted to hear, and then we went, got the budget, put the show together, and we were doing Three Dog Night, Buffalo Springfield Tower, Power, Blood, Sweat and Tears, Sergio Mendes, Nancy Wilson, great jazz singer, Blondie, Pat Benatar, Cool in the Game, Peace in the Sunshine, man, just on and on and on. But we targeted it because we wanted to bring in large groups of people, so we went after the acts that would do that. If it was contemporary jazz, you know, we're dealing with, you know, what was popular, Bonnie James, Keiko Matsuri, you know, Dave Cox, a lot of the artists that appeal to that particular segment. So if you're into contemporary jazz, we pretty much need the hot acts to bring in. And then what's good was a lot of acts that we were friends with. They were very talented and they had their own original music. And what I would do is I would put them on as an opening act. So they would get access to that same market. So that's another thing you could do, is to find a way to ally yourself with that particular marketplace. Say the headliner brings in his or her market, and there's 1,000 people in the room. Whatever it takes, be the opening act. It's all, especially if you, I mean, definitely if you're in alignment with that audience. And then, you know, it almost doesn't matter what you get paid. What you want to do is have access. We found, my daughters found this out because they did all my merch at my concerts. So we're doing concerts, say this is in Newport Beach. At the time, a CD you could sell for $20. We'll have an act come on, and I'd walk on before the show, and I'd tell the audience, this is Newport Beach, so there's 5,000 people out there. And I would say, bring your CDs. I would take several CDs of the artist and say, you know, this artist is so great, you're going to want to take it home with you tonight. And they're on sale right now behind the stage, and the artist will gladly autograph them for you or personalize the CD after the show. We sold CDs at $20 a pop all day long. The next day, you couldn't give them away at Walmart for $5. It's the heat of the moment, the emotion of the event sold the CD. And so we learned how to market that way and not take advantage, but to leverage the emotion of this audience. And so imagine if you were there, there's 5,000 people, and you were, say, if you were the headliner, great. You're getting paid your performance fee and whatever other amenities that you negotiate. But what if you were the opening act and you happened to get on board and your music happened to appeal to the same audience? Now you've got a head start. We did that for a lot of our friends, and what we did was we put them on with them. We also did some groups that were great artists, that were touring artists, but they happened to live in the area, and then we would hire them like to, here's a good one. My daughter's going to UCLA. She says, Dad, you got to hire my friend's band. I said, honey, we're pretty full. We got Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think Cool in the Gang on a Friday. Saturday, our headliner, Blondie. Sunday was Beach Boys. Friday, we had 2 opening acts. Saturday, 3 opening acts. Sunday, I think we had 2 acts. And we're openers. And she said, you've got to use my friend's group. Okay, I'll go see them. I went down to the Troubadour. They're great. I said, you know, great songs, but they might want to change their name. And it was a group called Kara's Flowers. And she goes, why? I said, no, who's Kara? It's all a bunch of guys. And she said, would you sign them? I said, sure. So they were our opening act Friday night, which is basically a glorified sound check at, say, 5 o'clock in the evening. Headliner comes on at 9 o'clock. It would turn out to be Maroon 5. And their songs, at that time, they were going to UCLA. A couple of them were. And their songs resonated with us. I remember no one knew who they were. And they got that opportunity to get on the stage, and it wasn't the only one. I'm sure they did dozens of them. But I remember the response from the audience, the people that had done the taste with us many years. They would come up and say, who's that act? I love that music. And no one had ever heard the music before. And so that was one example of how it works, is that, matter of fact, one of my daughters went and got the check, the canceled check in there, and the contract, because she wanted to hold on to it for posterity, because it wasn't that much compared to what I'm sure they get now, obviously. But the opportunity was there. For some reason it went on. People loved the tune, but it got exposure to all the artists on the bill, plus the audience that was there. Now they're making 100 times what the headliner was making. But they took the shot, and they're willing to do it. And so I think to leverage, find out, it's your responsibility to find out what music you have and who it resonates with. And then search out who in the business is doing it. Look for the master who's doing it. Be of service to the master. If you love to paint and Picasso is around, go work for him. Take him as lunch. James paint brushes. Be there, because it rubs off. And so we saw that happen on several occasions. Many contemporary jazz acts you see now that are doing well in the marketplace, selling their product. We put them on. A lot of them are friends of ours. We put them on as opening acts for the Blood, Sweat, Tears over the Tower, Polyphony, and Nancy Wilson, because they just wanted to get their music out into the market, to get it heard. And they were savvy enough to hone their musical talent so that when they went on stage, they knew how to walk on, they knew how to deliver a show. Got 45 minutes. Don't ask for too much. Do a great sound check. Hit it. 7 o'clock, 7:45, you're done. Change over the stage. 8 o'clock, headliner comes on. But what they got was exposure to whatever headliner audience was in attendance at that time. And we're talking like 5,000 to 10,000 people that just heard them, that before they got to the show, they didn't know who these artists were. So I think it's incumbent upon us as artists is to avail yourself to that, to not get caught up in the hesitance, and but to throw it out there. Because like I said, the parachute doesn't open till you jump. And there's so many stories that I can go on and on about that, but I won't. But that was one great way to get exposure.
And along the lines of that, one of the things that you famously mentioned was you can find anybody with 3 phone calls. Tell us about that.
I'm an entrepreneur, and I'll cold call anybody. But I truly believe you can reach anybody you want with 3 phone calls. If you think about it enough, you've done your homework, you know who you want to reach. My buddy, Harry Manaka. I really didn't know Harry. And we're working on a project now called Sons of Rocket. And I'd seen him perform. And I called someone, I said, you know how to reach this guy? He said, no, call Dr. Where is she? And he said, yeah, here's his number, 3. And so I've used that. And if you think about it enough and focus, you can get there. It just takes courage. It just takes picking up the phone and be what I call smiling and dying, and just keep going. That's the worst they can say, no. And just keep going. So many doors that we opened because we were willing to pick up the phone and call somebody.
How do you get started with that? Cold call. Where do you call first? And you usually ask. You say, well, maybe you can't tell me, but who do you know that's like me?
Yeah. That's it. Yes, that's as simple as it is.
As far as getting awesome, so tell us a little about how you got started with this taste of
Well, it's all bringing entertainment to specific groups of people. The way Taste of Newport started was, I was working with some folks in the area, and they said we're creating this event, and I said, I work on it. I always work backwards. I said, what's your end result? What do you want? What do you want to see happen at the event, and who's that audience? And so they said, well, we're very busy in Newport during the summertime with the tourists, but we need something to help the restaurants and the community. We'd like to do something for the community in September when the tourists go home. And so we're doing this several events. Well, the one that lasted the longest was an event called the Taste of Newport. Again, we said, what's the problem we need to solve? Well, tourists go home, locals are still here, we want to entertain and we want to bring business to restaurants. And so we put it all together, and my job was to put the music marketing program together. So I said, who's the residents within, say, a 40, 50 mile radius? Tight within a 10-mile radius, real tight within a 5. What do they respond to? What kind of musical artists will they enjoy? What's my budget? And then I would strategically line it up. Turned out that Friday turned out to be our party night, Cooling the Yankees and the Sunshine Day. Saturday was our date night, Lonnie, Pointer Sisters, Rick Springfield, Pat Benatar. Sunday was our family day. We go to church, wash the car, let's go to the States, Beach Boys. And so we strategically placed them like that. And what I did was, most of the opening acts were friends of ours who were very talented. And so we lined them up strategically on those same nights or days. So Friday was a party. Bless his heart, my buddy Bruce Conte, former guitarist for Tower Power, always had a killer band. He was always one of my spots on Friday. Saturday, and then we would do it, in Pick'em. And they always had product. They always, in those days, they always had CDs, still do. And they can still go out and merchandise because now they're in an environment where we're doing 80,000 people a weekend. So somewhere in there, they got notice.
How do you pick these local artists that aren't known yet?
Well, they call me. And they send me. In those days, they would send CDs, press kits, call me up. Hey, I heard you do this. I talked to them, and if they were the right act, if I was looking for an artist, like my daughter just happened to turn me on to her buddies from UCLA. And I went down to the Troubadour and heard them. And I said, yeah, they're great. And then the others, I would get so many submissions. We get VHS tapes by the boxload. And I had my youngest daughter, who's now appearing in La Jolla Playhouse over to the Yellow House. She was starring in Kendall and the Rock Band on tour. And I would have her go over, and she would listen to it and critique it. Dad, this act is great. Singing these little work, might work on your Friday night, and they would start going through the different submissions. That's how we did it. And people would just call up, and after a while, here's a marketing idea I had, speaking of which. It's not about songwriting, but my thought was, I'm a big Louis L'Amour fan. I like to read about the Western stories. And there's one story when I was going into this, in that particular neighborhood, a lone cowboy rides into the valley. You have cattlemen and a rancher, and they both needed water. And they were fighting each other all the time. Silently, quietly, he started buying the water rights up on the hill. Cattle needed water, rancher needed water. Pretty soon, he just let everybody fight. After a while, he had the water rights. My marketing concept was, I wanted the water rights for music. So we ended up doing the Hard Rock Cafe's concerts. George Thorogood, Brian Setzer, Chris Isaac, Neville Brothers. we're doing the Marriott Jazz series, the Fashionado music series, and the Taste of Newport, the Parkway's music series, the Parkway's afternoon series. So we had about over half a dozen well-placed, high-profile events, high-quality music events that we funneled music through. And so we had a lot of opportunities for artists. And it was great because we were able to bring a lot of friends and people we didn't even know that we would find artists that were, like the one I told you about, that my daughter brought, that because we had the opportunity, we had the show, we had the sound station light. I mean, we brought in real sound station light and generators, and we were able to bring in the headliner and then strategically find who would support that particular artist, and that's how we did it.
Set that just smokes. You find a place for each of those songs. Different characters, different audiences, but it's doable.
Now, baby, we worked real hard on our relationship thing, but hard work to produce what we thought it should bring. Now it's a sad fact, it's a sad, sad truth. We've got to admit, there's no future, me and you. Almost time ago, now you must know. Now listen, it won't be long, it won't be long, it won't be long, it won't be long. No, it won't be long, it won't be long, it won't be long, it won't be long. It won't be long, it won't be long, it won't be long, it won't be long. It won't be, won't be, won't be, won't be, won't be, won't be long. It won't be long. It won't be long. It won't be long.
Alright, good job, man.
Again, I frame everything in a live performance. Generally, it's in 45, 60, 75, maybe 90-minute sets, increments. And where you strategically place, like this artist, wherever he plays that song, he has to strategically do it. What he bookends it with is important, how he opens the set, how he closes it. Because, you know, back in the day, there were hit singles. Now, that's possible, but I come from a live environment where you have to move an audience for a set amount of time, and you have to strategically put your set list together. So each of these songs, all three songs, have their place. The first one reminds me of a gal from Northern Cal, LaVey and the Red Hot Skillet Lickers, I think it was called. Never got to use it. Another group called Mumbo Gumbo from the Bay Area, and they had tunes that you folks have never heard of probably, but they worked very well in front of a live audience, and they knew how to structure their set. So strategically, I'm not like those guys from all these shows you see on TV where they pass or play. I think there's a place for all these tunes. You got to work them out. You got to be a good craftsman or woman, but it depends on how you factor it into the whole project. There's one group, my daughter and son-in-law went to college with a guy named Scott Bradley, and he just didn't come up with an original tune, but he took new songs, made them vintage, called Postmodern Jukebox, and the excitement that he would create online with one song. He started doing it with just a little iPhone in his apartment in New York City. My daughter was happening, and it took hold. I think he's got a major tour. They had a residency, I think, at the Wynn in Las Vegas, but they didn't have an original tune. That was their way in. If he wanted to do an original song right now, he's going to have an audience. But he found a way in to first develop followers, monetize his performances. He's online, you can see him all the time. And that was his way. And I think if he came up with an original tune now, they'd probably get a lot of audience members buying into it. But he found a way to structure all his content first as singles. You know, they're quirky, they're unique, found an audience, major tour. Now if he wants to do an original song, boom, he slides it right in. It's probably on his agenda. But that's what I look at with all these tunes, is that, you know, who are we to say, like I said, there's someone somewhere in this world that's going to like your song. You just got to throw it out there. So every one of them, whatever their personality is, their brand, their image, their marketing, that's a lot of their responsibility, is to figure that out. Because otherwise you're just, you know, tossing money into the coin toss. But to be strategic about it, know who you are, know who your audience is, and then you can make just about almost anything fit.
Your hair and your eyes are all I see. The rest of your face hidden from me. I'm falling in love. You've taken my heart. Love that could never be. There is no start. Just the feelings in my heart falling apart. We can't hold hands. There is no romance. I wish we could, but I see no chance. I'm falling in love. You've taken my heart. We can't hold hands. That could never be. There is no romance, no stars. I wish we could have been in my.
Are you playing guitar?
Yes.
What's that guy from Australia down there that reminds me of who's the guitarist?
Dire Straits, Mark
Yeah,
Knopfler.
Knopfler. Reminds me of the Knopfler tone. Yeah. You know, finesse it, work it out. Don't overcook it though, and just throw it out there. There's going to be a shot somewhere. Like I said, if you're an artist, which you are, and you're going to present this, it's one thing to stand alone. Because how many times have you gone to a concert with a major artist, and very few of them you know every tune. You know, there's always that one song. So, but you don't know which one's going to hit. I have a friend. He's got a song that everybody covers it. He got it on Michael Bublé's album, and it made a ton of money. It's called "At This Moment," Billy Vera. And I've had Billy Vera at my events for so many times, over and over and over again. I mean, some of the tunes that he does are originals, but people in the audience never heard the song before, and they're across the spectrum, A and C. You know, they're a little shuffle. Some of it's bluesy, some of it's like "At This Moment's" a kind of a love song, and a lot of artists covered all he needed. Well, he's got a lot of tunes that are published, but that song, everybody covers it. So, but he's written thousands of songs, you know. So I would just keep throwing them out there, because you never know which one's gonna hit. I keep looking back at the music when we were growing up. You know, everybody had a band, and some of the B-sides became the hit. The A-side that the record company was counting on, all the experts said this is a hit. We flipped it over, and the B-side got it. So that's why I said, this business you never know, but you got to throw it out there. I would fine tune it. and then figure out where the rest of your catalog is, and then strategically place it, because there's always, there's that opening number, the backup number, then the third number, then you do your top, then there's the follow-up number, get into the next part of the set, and there's your 11th hour number, whatever that is, and start looking at it like that. You don't have to belabor it, but consider it. Look at it as a whole package. Back in the day, it was a singles market, and it kind of is again today. But once you have to perform, you got to do at least 45. Everybody's got 20. My friend Bill Medley from the Russian Brothers goes, "Yeah, Gerald, everybody's got 20 minutes. You got to be ready to do 60." So.
Hey, Rich Marchetta, do you want to say anything about yours?
This is my friend Doug Conlon. He's back in Colorado. He produced it, singing and finger picking guitar. Still plays it. Go ahead, Jim. Thank you.
This thing's keeps hiding its own windows.
Or you can skip it and just
Wait a minute,
lyrics.
Mad dog went crazy in love in 33. Highway of users and robberies. Longing life. You know, poor made up for rebellion, body guard tree. Highway of users and robberies.
Trying to do this model.
well, no, I got you to turn it off. I don't know what's happening.
You listen to Dan Hicks?
What's that?
You ever listen to Dan Hicks and the Outlets?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
But I think, to hit it in that direction. I think great thing for a songwriter, once your spirit comes out, your personality comes out, there are songwriters that can cross genres. I mean, they can do a pop tune, do a country tune, a standard country tune, a contemporary country, and they come around to a Broadway ballad. But most songwriters have an essence from their spirit that defines who they are. And I think, like I said, someone out there somewhere's gonna like what you do. You just gotta find your lane. And that's the marketing aspect. Most people just want to create, whether you're a painter, a poet, or songwriter, and not worry about it. But I think, give that some thought. And then look at the other artists in that lane, and you can tell, you can get a feel. Not that you're copying them, because you want to be something fresh and unique. But I think that's what I would do. There's somebody at the gate who wants to talk to you. He's supposed to be playing today. Little did I know the record company had sent this artist that they thought was going to break. And I said, well, okay. So I go over there, there's a guy in coveralls, no shirt, denim coveralls, looks like he had sandals on, and a guitar case. I said, yes. Can I help? He says, well, I'm supposed to open up today. I says, oh, great. They haven't told me what's your name. He goes, I'm Ben Harper. Now I go, oh, that guy. But at the time, he just came in with his guitar, coveralls, no shirt, walked in. I said, let's get this guy set up. How long are you going to do, Ben? He goes, yeah, they tell me whatever I want. I said, yeah, half an hour good for it. He says, yeah, whatever. Got him a chair, a folding chair, because we weren't expecting it. Put it up there, got him a mic on his guitar. You good? Good. And she's like, Mom, you're okay? Okay. And he nailed it. People went crazy. But no one had heard, but the radio station just sent it to us. And it was magic. One guy.
Yeah.
One guy, one guitar. No band, no tracks, no percussionist, acoustic guitar, and him. It was amazing. Another guy did that. I think it was Francis Dunnery. Haven't heard from him since. I've got his CD stuck away, but he came. We're going to show him, what's Bob Dylan's son's name?
Jacob.
Jacob. He was the headliner. Guy comes back, says, I'm supposed to open up today. Okay, they didn't tell us, but we'll take care of it. Is this legit? Okay. There was this guy named Francis Dunnery. Went up there and played acoustic guitar. I remember he had an ovation, and he killed. And everybody wanted to buy his CD, but I haven't heard from him since.
Next we have Harambe. Want to say anything about it? Here you go. Just saw it.
Yeah, it's just a track from my forthcoming album.
Okay.
Hopefully it's forthcoming.
Sweet melody. Real loud and pretty. She touched me. And she was so appealing. Piqued my curiosity. Had insightful lyrics that were so compelling. And her performance was so overwhelming. Sweet melody, playing again. How again is it never been? There were many musical choices, but I chose hers instead. The sweet melody stuck in my head. She got the rhyme and the rhythm. Rhythm has a natural flow. She sings with conviction.
Right, very cool.
That's nice.
Nice.
I hear a B3 in there with some horns. You know? I frame it based on live. I see a stage, and I picture the artist delivering it and the audience report. I always set myself at the end result saying, how is this going to move humanity? And yeah, soulful.
Okay, well, we've got just one more here. Steve, anything about that, Steve?
The song was written about some people I met in New York.
Where?
In New York.
I love New York.
I ask you if you're busy. Specific day, specific time. Ambiguous, you say maybe.
going to go to the chorus.
Oh, go to the car.
Please go to the chorus. Please go to the chorus.
And you don't say why. You just keep it moving around. You just keep it moving around. Look at me waiting for so long. Till something better comes along.
Oh, did you play on that too?
No, I just sang. I mean, I wrote the song and the lyrics, and I did the vocals, but I didn't play the guitar. Yeah, I mean, the guitar player is very good.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, you know, again, for the 15th time, I frame it on a live performance. I saw it, you know, in an environment. I know the instrumentation that I like to hear it with. I can see the audience's faces. I can feel their vibe. That's how I gauge it. That's how I format all my concerts. I see that first. Is this going to fit? Or where is it going to fit? You know, which artists do I line it up with? And like I said, there's going to always be an audience for your content. However you look at it, there's such a diverse array of expression here. And I still, from my point of view, because I'm a live guy, and you know, we have a lot of songwriters. We have access to the greatest musicians in the world here in town. You guys probably know them all, some of them. But to put them together is magic. And like your tune, you mentioned before, my daughters went to school back there, married on Manhattan, Upper East Side, performed all around New York, so we were very familiar with venues and public theater and whatnot, but you can see it. But where does that fit in your set? Because you're on a CD, like, you know, Billy Rose says, Gerald, just do 10 tunes. Record company doesn't want to pay more residual than 10 songs. You know, so we're looking at, okay, those 10 songs. Well, that 10 songs give you a show. And it's like a play, beginning, middle, end. You know, how do you bring the audience in? How do you set them up? And easily segue to the second tune, the third tune. Because you don't want them clicking off after the first song and saying, okay, I've heard it. You want it's got to be a total experience. And so, you know, I know, you know, where I would put that song in the set. But I would know what I have to bookend it too. You know, I would know pretty much what kind of choices I would make on the instrumental settings. And, you know, I would say, you know, get that in hand. I think a songwriter was put here for a reason. There's no right or wrong. There's always going to be somebody that's going to like what you do. Whatever song you wrote, there's going to be someone in this world, in these billions of people, that's going to like it. You just got to market yourself so you get it to that audience.
How can people find
Social media, you can hit me on Facebook under my name, Instagram. I respond.
Do you have any upcoming events?
Well, thanks to our pandemic, we've been hunkered down. We're working on concerts in 2022 and 23. Some major actions you're familiar with that we're negotiating with now. The challenge, I've got a group I created called the Island Crooners. If you can imagine Bobby Darin and Don Ho meet the Rat Pack. We're looking for original tunes. But we play with big bands, and we have PBS interest. And that, you know, we filmed some footage, but we're looking for more. I'm also working with Harris. We've got my best buddies wrote a book called Sensei Rocker. We're working on a project with that, a live project. I've got a Latin rock with 11 pieces with some phenomenal musicians that we were doing concerts before this all happened, and we're looking to get back out. We're chomping at the bit, but it's tough. I mean, when the pandemic hit and the quarantine came down, everybody came home. My buddy manages blood, sweat, and tears. He says, we're coming home. It's off. Tower Power came home. A friend of mine, musical director for Diana Ross, he says, it's canceled. Come home. I mean, it's just like one weekend, the whole industry shut down. And we were hoping to come back last summer. Didn't happen. Everybody started booking dates, and they'd have to replace them. So right now, there's a lot of jobs. Even like a Segerstrom Center in Orange County, they're moving acts that they thought were going to play in the next month. But, you know, we're still dealing with this. So right now, we're sketching out 2022 and 23. Hopefully by March, we can start doing something, which is pretty close. But we know we better be going by 2023 or by mid-2022 because there's so many creatives. My daughter, during this, she was touring with a theater piece called Cambodian Rock Band, critically acclaimed. South Coast Repertory, Oregon Shakespeare Festival, 10 months, La Jolla Playhouse. They closed their run just before the pandemic came. And she went, put a plug in for her. She's there now at the La Jolla Playhouse in a show about Van Gogh. And she's created something called beandartshero.com. You can go look it up, beandartshero.com. There's my daughter and a couple of friends. She says, Dad, all the songwriters, the spotlight operators, the ticket takers, the artists, the agents, the managers, everyone's out of business. And the sad thing about it, she says, you know, there's some people that came off tour and some of the roadies that they lost hope. And so they created an initiative to get funding from the government for the arts sector. And they got to Congress. They were asking for something like $3.4 billion, and guts and kid. But they got the ear of people in New York who at first said, oh, these are a bunch of young folks. But they had to come to the table. But that's part of what we're talking about, is that they felt this urge that, you know, our sector is the last to recover. I mean, the guy who made the cardboard boxes, he did fine. UPS, FedEx, that business went. But the arts, you know, I'm heartened to see that you folks are doing what you do, because I've always thought that the future belongs to the creative communicator. And keep it up, because the songwriting, expensive paintings and whatnot, they're going to be the real estate of the future. The thing you have to remember is that at some point, it may be tough right now, but keep doing it. Put it out there, put it out there. You know, my daughters write, and they got a couple of kids, so they're writing children's songs. I said, well, you gotta, you know, even if it's just a guitar and a voice, put it out there and you know, get it in. Because it may not be today, but it could be 5, 10 years from now that you start cashing in. But I don't know. I don't have the crystal ball. I'm hoping that March we start doing concerts, because I need theaters to do shows. And we've been talking to a lot of artists that they want to get out there, but they're hesitant because they don't know. Say you got a tour on the West Coast, Seattle, come back down to Oregon, come back down to San Francisco, LA, San Diego, and you got the West Coast swing, and say if 2 of them pop out, it throws off the whole dynamic. Now all of a sudden, you're out of money because you're counting on airfares, transportation, hotel. The band is putting all their everything else aside. They're traveling. So if you drop 2 dates and you have to reposition them to next year, it's a big quandary. So it's we're seeing it happen to a lot of our friends right now. And so as far as me, I'm looking at hopefully March 2022. Send me some good luck. In 2023, we definitely think. Island Crooners got offers to go out of this country into Japan. We don't know if we can go. You know, so I don't have that crystal ball. I'm the eternal optimist. I'm going to do it. That's the other thing, that if you're called to do it, there's nothing going to change your mind. You got to stick. You got to do it. So There's no, the great motivational speaker, Les Brown, he says, wouldn't it be a great tragedy to show up at the end of your life with your music still in you, unplayed? Wouldn't that be a great tragedy? You don't want to be on your deathbed. But you want to be there surrounded by all your loved ones, smiling and crying and joyful. What you don't want to do is be surrounded by all your hopes, dreams, and songs that you never did. And they said, because you didn't take advantage and put us out there, we must now die with you. So you got to put it out there. You have to put it out, because that's why you were put here. There's no accident. This is synchronicity that this group of people are here tonight, because I encourage you to throw it out there, because the clock is ticking. We can't control time. And, you know, when you're gone, you're gone. I don't want to sound like I'm putting a damper on it, but I encourage you to put your music out there. Every song I heard tonight, and every discussion we've had, I see potential. I had to make a living and raise my kids by making right decisions, by putting people on stage and drawing a lot of people, and for them to pay money so that I can get paid, so I can pay for my kids. And so I'm not fooling. When I made a decision on an opening act, when I made a decision on a headliner, I had to be pretty sure that they were going to turn tickets. And part of it was I had to have confidence that the content they brought with them, the songs, the artists, the musicians, were on par. And so it was how I fed my family. So I don't take it loosely. I don't sit there like a judge at a singing competition and talk whatever. That doesn't matter to me. Everybody can do it. You got to have the hunger in your belly, because that's why we were put here. I think part of the thing I told my daughters when they were young, I said, one of my responsibilities as your father is to help you uncover your vision in life, why God put you here. The other thing is to do everything in my power to help you manifest it sooner than later. And I think if you're here, that means you have a voice, you have something you have to give to humanity. And a lot of the stuff is superfluous. You're going to get a better arrangement. You're going to tighten up the bridge. I mean, when you modulate from two verses into the bridge, should I go half step, should I go from one to third? You're going to ferret all that out. Should I use a B3, or should I use a Fender Rhodes, or should I use a synth? Should I use so-and-so on drums, or should I use the other guy? All those are minutia items. The key is the message you're going to bring to this planet while you are here.
Very inspirational. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, and let's present our guest speakers with the official SongNet bud.
All right.
Thank you. And appreciate that. So yeah, if you're interested in finding out more about getting booked and stuff, or what it takes to get booked,
Hit me on social media. I will respond. Unless I'm out of town, I was.
social media.
Oh, a plug. If you like, some of you might like Hallmark movies. Go check it out. My daughters. I just came back from Natchez, Mississippi. I was with my I just came back from Natchez, Mississippi. I was with my 4-month-old granddaughter, and my daughter starred in this movie. And it's called Every Time a Bell Rings. It's on Hallmark. Check it out. But what's interesting was one of the actors, this is why I bring it up, was a musician songwriter. So he's Wes, I think his name's Wes Brown. Nice cat. So we went there, for 3 weeks. My daughter's wanted to start a show, and she got, Dad, come on. This guy, he's a musician too. So he happens to live in Nashville, and he's an actor, but he got his song on the movie. So if you go see the movie, and my daughter's up there singing with her 2 adopted sisters, and they're singing this guy's song. So now this songwriter has whoever he's with, ASCAP BMI. He's gonna get hit, you know.
Yeah, lots of money. Yes.
And hopefully it runs multiple times. But
It will if it's on Hallmark.
yeah, every time a bell rings. But he wrote the song for Natchez, Mississippi. You know, and we were there, and they did a scene where they did the tune. So this is a songwriter, and he got his song because he's an actor. He goes, hey, we need a song for the movie. I write. Really? Can you write one for us? Yeah. It's in a movie. So you never know.
Thanks again. That's great. Okay, well, so we're running a little bit earlier than usual. Thank you very much, all you guys on Zoom. Sorry for some of the technical issues that we had, but you know, it'll still be archived, and if you miss something, you can go back. And again, if you have any questions, you can always hit us back up. Showcase at songnet.info, and we will answer any questions that you've got. And I know that a lot of people will be watching this after the fact too, because they didn't show up tonight. I don't know what's going on with all that. But thanks again, once again, Gerald. Thank you so much for being here. And we'll see you guys for the showcase. We usually have a Christmas party, but we're just going to have a regular showcase. Maybe we'll have a little of the same stuff. And I will bring the box of whatever gifty sort of things that we always do for that, because it's always fun, and you guys at least get something, right? So that's pretty much it. We'll see you guys on the, what was it, 15th, right? 15th. All right. Have a good one. Good night.